Hello, and welcome back to another episode of COAGG Conversations. I'm your host, Doom Cutie, and today we have a very exciting guest, Sarah, who is the director of the Australian Esports League. Welcome to COAGG. It's an absolute honour to have you on.
Thanks, Doom Cutie. Pleasure. That was an incredible intro. And happy to be here on a Friday afternoon.
It is a Friday afternoon, and TGIF.
TGIF. Wine time soon.
Oh, definitely. Although it is only 1 p.m. in WA, but you know what? It's 6 p.m. somewhere.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for joining us and using some of your Friday afternoon time for us. I'm really, really excited about having you on because, as most people know, I am a teacher myself, and esports, kids in high school that play games. It's a very lovely environment, soup, and it's just really, really exciting. So, Sarah, why don't you tell everyone who's listening and watching who you are and what you do?
Yeah, sure. So my name's Sarah Jae. So I'm a director at the Australian Esports League and have been for nearly 6 years now. I'm also a co-founder of Critical Hit Entertainment. So we do a lot of events around Australia, a lot of gaming events, a lot of esports events. But my main role at the AEL is essentially building out grassroots esports across the nation. And that's in primary schools, high schools. We do a lot of events with councils. We work with government as well. So it's really the focus of building that infrastructure at a grassroots level.
Amazing. It's certainly an interesting and very, I think, young field. As in, the industry is quite young.
Extremely young.
Yeah, and you're breaking new ground here.
Oh, completely. So, we're all kind of used to the more traditional mindset. So your soccer, footy, swimming, and we're kind of, our gospel is esports is also a sport. It's got very similar characteristics where there's teams, there's collaboration, there's communication. So you see all these real similar skills that are in traditional sports that get transferred to esports. So when we're out there with schools and, building out these leagues, it's a real kind of educational piece as well. And you're really shifting people's mindsets, especially for parents. So we always see the current affairs stories, today, tonight, whereas so much negativity and stigma around gaming. And we're just trying to crush through that at the moment with the positives.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, I remember growing up as a teenager and as a older child. It was very much seen as something that you did like in your parents' basement. It was seen as an alternative to physical activity, which is actually quite interesting because I know a lot of gamers that did a lot of sport as well. So that was their downtime, that was their chill time with their mates. So
look, totally. Yeah, that was the same for me. I'd be on the skateboard, the skate park, and then it would be on the Nintendo 64. So bit of balance. Balance is always good.
Most definitely. Do you feel like that's the biggest challenge that you're facing with those grassroots projects? You're outreaching to these places, and you've got a lot of people that a lot of administration in schools can be of a particular generation. They have a particular mindsets around gaming itself. How do you go about convincing them?
Yeah, look, great question. It's more so I take the look of educating. So if you can go, okay, what are the similarities between esports and gaming to soccer, and then pulling that apart. So there's teams, they're working together, they're communicating, you have leadership skills on display. You've got all these different things, but it's just the fact that it's kind of person and machine, not person and soccer ball. So I think when you show the simplicity of it to people, they start to understand it more. And, look, it's helped that the Commonwealth Games had esports last year in Birmingham.
Yes. Yeah.
The Olympics had the Olympic Esports Week this year in Singapore. That was incredible. So you have these big bodies that are going, like, we're endorsing this, we're supporting it, we can see the benefits in this, we can see, the career potential. So, it's really just re-educating, I think, a lot of parents and also a lot of faculty regarding the benefits. Some people get it, some don't. It's still a little bit hard for people to wrap their head around it. But, when we have events and that, we've had so much feedback where parents come along, they see their kids, hanging out with other kids, similar to being at a skate park or on a soccer field, and they can see the communities come together. And I think, it's just a matter of time. So, recently, actually, a few weeks ago, the Victorian government made esports a sport. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Bravo. Well done. About time.
About time. So, now we're seeing state bodies that are kind of going, okay, we've got to get behind this and support it. Where, there's going to be funding now for schools to set up, esports teams and run events. So, all the dominoes are just starting to fall.
Definitely. I've seen quite a number of people being able to, and this is on the game development side, they're getting more government assistance with actually producing games, because the government is taking games as a more serious form of entertainment. And I actually had a conversation with someone who is in the business side of gaming. Do you know how much Mario is worth?
I actually don't.
No. $600 billion.
Wow.
Yeah. So for the government and for other people to not take gaming seriously from a business point of view and as an entertainment point of view, I think they might be, missing some zeros there, if you get what I mean. So
look, totally. And that, and that's exactly why the Com Games and the Olympics are jumping on it as well. There's obviously, some kind of monetary incentive there for these kind of bodies to get in on board and work with gaming publishers as well. So
definitely.
It's its whole little kind of ecosystem, but I love the competitiveness of it. And I think if, you've got a young kid that wants to be a pro esports athlete, those pathways have to be there. We just witnessed the Matildas on such a national scale. And, years ago, they were buying their own jerseys, laughed off the pitch. So, it's a matter of time. The future's there. We're just kind of paving the runway.
For sure. But your background, this wasn't, you didn't set out to actually work in this field, I don't think.
No, I did not. No, I actually got into it. A good friend of mine, Darren Kwan. So he founded the AEL. So years ago, and we got really close, and we were talking about, hey, we really think there's something here. We think there should be more infrastructure. Like, we really felt that someone had to do it, like really build out the grassroots. And we kind of just took it upon ourselves, and it's been an incredible journey. When you get a call saying, the Victorian government are making it a sport, you just go, okay, this is so worth it. Like, you're on the right path. So but no, I did not set out to do esports and gaming. If you would have told me I was in this 10 years ago, I just would have laughed.
No, but you know what? And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. The older I get, the more I realize that it's more common than not to have a less than linear path through careers and and that kind of thing. So I think probably growing up, there was a lot of I guess, like, you had the dream, right? The dream of, I'm going to go to university, I'll get my job, I'll work for 50 years, I'll have grandchildren, and then I will die. The more I keep exposing myself to professionals like yourself, the more I realize it's totally okay to change your mind, and sometimes it's worth it.
Oh, completely worth it. Look, I'm so glad I got into this space, and I love the challenge of it. I love seeing what we're creating in schools, and just some of the people we get to work with as well within the
Mm-hmm.
industry. It's truly been a blast. The travel as well. We get to take Team Australia overseas to events, and I think the ecosystem is just filled with incredible opportunities.
Mm-hmm. So you're managing, obviously, your team at the staff level. So do you find yourself represented in your team a lot as being a woman, or is it mostly male dominated?
Look, it is mostly male dominated.
Yeah.
So, however, in saying that, I've just taken on two female trainees from Cath West Innovation School in
Okay.
Sydney. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
they're with us for a year and a half. We're a few months into that, and
Yep.
they're with me every Thursday for a day, and
Mm-hmm.
they're doing like their screen certificate. So we're getting them like on the creative side. So they're making social media graphics
Yeah,
and
yeah.
making videos and TikToks and just coming to events with us as well. So
Mm-hmm.
from the AEL perspective, we're very passionate about getting women involved on that front.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been a pretty cool step.
I have noticed I'm seeing a lot of the high school teams, like it is a lot of boys, isn't
Oh,
it? Like,
totally. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Lots of boys. Yeah.
Is
About 98% boys.
yeah, yeah. Do you
Yeah.
find that that's because the girls don't want to play, or their parents don't want their girls to play?
Look, good question. I think there's a lot to that.
Yeah.
When you look at the more kind of the traditional sports, and I'm taking my perspective when I was young, I remember
Mm.
being one of the only girls running on the soccer field or at the skate park or even
Yeah.
out surfing. It was very limited. I think with our high school teams, it is very male dominated because I think there's just that general pattern throughout lots of things. I would like to see us move into perhaps doing more of a female focused league,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of creating that. We
Yeah.
do have a few kind of female players, but it is very male dominated. I'm not sure if
Mm-hmm.
that comes down to parents kind of saying, hey, you can or you can't play in the league because of that. I'm not sure if it's got to do with, a lot of women experiencing, abuse online when they're playing games. Like we all
Yeah.
know that people hide their identity, cover up their voices, all that kind of stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just multi-layered in so many
Yeah.
ways.
I
Yeah.
from my own observations, probably one game that I follow probably the most closely in the leagues is World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
They have female all women teams that compete against each other. They do have the teams are allowed coaches, and the coach can be a man or a woman. That doesn't matter, but seeing the kinds of conversations that happen around those competitions, and actually the reason why women feel more comfortable competing in women only competitions probably is because of that, the very fierce masculine
Yeah.
energy that occurs in the male leagues. So I think I don't know. Is this where we start? Is this where we empower girls
Yeah. Look,
or empower boys to empower girls?
yeah. In the perfect world, it would be great if we could just have girls and
Mixed
boys play
teams.
together. Yeah.
Yes. No.
That
Exactly. Yeah.
like perfect world. But I agree. I do think fundamentally, when you are going up against guys, whether it's in gaming or any kind of traditional sport, they usually go a lot harder. And, we can see the ego come into it a lot. They do have that more masculine drive to win, and that can be quite
Mm-hmm.
intimidating. So I think across in the grassroots space, especially for female gamers, there needs to be just female leagues. So they had that safe space.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they want to go online and verse guys, and whether that's in disguise and that's probably a whole different situation. But I do think more so in the schooling kind of front, having that those safer spaces for females or women to come together and kind of verse each other, where you have school versus school, similar to like when we were at school. I remember being on like the girls netball team, and you'd play other schools in their girls netball team, and there was that separation when they reach high school, because the boys were obviously bigger and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's something that needs to be mapped out, then executed.
Definitely.
But look, I'd love it if we had more women playing, and it's just the same old battle, it's like women's sports where they're not getting equal pay as men. It's honestly just that kind of same old battle that just kind of comes up, whether it's in tennis or soccer or gaming.
I think I heard something when I was a teenager, I think, and it was like men are more entertaining to watch when they play sport, and that was a reason for paying women less. And I've you know what? I will watch a Matilda's game. I will not watch. Like, I'm not as invested, and it probably is maybe because I can see myself reflected on the field, rather than a man. But I was like, what? Since when? Like, if anything,
you gotta love the justification.
Like, if anything, like, I've never seen in women's soccer, I've never seen them like fall down and be like, oh, my leg.
I know, right? Yeah.
If anything, I think they're actually probably more serious players, and probably and more fair, to be honest.
I agree. I completely agree with that. And I think it's because it's the attitude, like, in the sporting space, there's been that attitude and that mentality and mindset where men usually do just kind of get it all. We've go back 30, 40 years, there wasn't that many women in the workplace. There was a time where women couldn't even get credit cards, for goodness sakes.
Right.
Like,
without a husband.
So
you were considered, your father, that was, your father gave you to your husband, and then that was kind of like it was very transactional, for sure.
Exactly. So there's still remnants of that thinking and those attitudes, and especially when it comes to women in sport, and we see the same thing with women in gaming as well. And, taking, if you've got a lot of women in the gaming space, and what career pathways are there for them as well. And,
for sure.
So, but look, it's an ongoing battle. I think it always will be.
I mean, I hope not. Like, I have 2 daughters myself, and I never discourage them from doing things that they feel drawn to, if it doesn't hurt another person. Like, I would never say, like, this is for girls and this is for boys, like, well, whatever, that's not something that I ever do. Like, I will always encourage them to stand up for themselves and advocate for themselves and others if they see the wrong thing. And I think that I hope it changes by the time my children are parents. But I think women don't want necessarily like a separate league. It's just that some women have been so, and I don't know any other word, but like traumatized, I suppose, and they've been kind of they've been treated badly. They've had really negative experiences. I've got a number of friends who won't play online because of stuff that they've just seen, not necessarily like what they've experienced themselves. They don't want to put themselves in a vulnerable position, and to actually play a game with someone on a team is actually a very intimate experience. And if you're playing some of those really fast-paced first-person shooters, Call of Duty, Valorant, all that kind of stuff, you are going to get those heightened emotions. You're going to get a very heightened version of people, and it can be
completely. It's it's an intense environment, and whether you kind of go, that's something that I want to participate in all the time or not.
Like, I want Overcooked too. I want Overcooked too in a league. I want to get together with a mixed team and just be like, right, Overcooked 2. Let's go. Write that down,
Go.
Sarah. Right.
I'm making notes.
Honestly, fantastic. Like I think also, okay, it's not for myself, like from my personal experience and my humble opinion. I think the work that you're doing is very meaningful. In not necessarily, you're not going out there saying, oh, boys have to, accept girls and all that kind of stuff. But I think you're what's the word? You're educating them on how to be a responsible player in that space, and they will bring that kind of attitude and that training to every part of their gaming life. Like, from my personal gaming experience, I've seen a lot of older men. They don't realize that they have a responsibility to anyone that comes in that's younger, to show them the right thing to do. And what happens is, because they look up to them, they're like, oh, like they have a good collection, they've been gaming for so long, all that kind of stuff, and they start to idolize them. And then the behaviors that they exhibit, it doesn't matter if they might seem good or bad, because everyone wants to kind of fit in. But I feel like with programs like this, it could potentially prevent a lot of online bullying.
Yeah, well, look, we've got a pretty strict code of conduct for players.
Yeah.
So, and we've had our moments with young teens, I guess I could say. So, and, we're constantly monitoring behavior and pulling things up where we need to. So it's certainly, it's like any sport. You just can't run onto a soccer field and do whatever you want to do. There's rules, you have to abide by them. Otherwise you don't get to play. So, and I think that's, like, it's certainly, it's needed. You kind of need that real strict guidance, and
For sure.
and also I think for youth as well, as they're kind of going to those teen years and moving them from school, it's teaching them lessons, like, and preparing them for the real world. Like, you've got to do things by the book. Whether that's sport or at your work, but they're learning that they have to follow this kind of code, this behavioral code, and that goes into workforce as well.
Yeah, exactly. And it's, so there are, rules. We grow up with rules, and then things become laws all of a sudden. And it's it's understanding that not following rules obviously comes with its consequences, but it's also about understanding that you are, number one, you're part of a collective, whether you're on a team or in society, a workplace, whatever, but also that it's more about you taking accountability for yourself.
Yeah.
And young people, teenagers, it's sometimes difficult to kind of impart that upon them. But going through like short experiences, like, and being part of sports teams, whether it's esports or, on the field sports, it does encourage that understanding of, okay, let's just, move on. He said some crap, whatever. Let's continue. Let's finish the match. Let's try our best, whatever. It's developing that resilience and that accountability and understanding that you are one part of one whole.
Exactly. And, I think we've all felt when we were teens that the world just revolved around us. And, it's kind of, when you're playing in an esports team, it's not just about you, and you might go off and do your own gaming where you feel it all is, but as soon as you step into that team space with esports, then you've quickly got to change your behavior and kind of change your own attitude and mindset and adapt to your team and, the direction that they're going. So,
for sure.
Look, there's so much to it. Like,
there really is. There's so many levels.
Yeah, you could. There's so many levels, and you can just pick it all apart. But I think all in all, the balance of for gamers, having keeping up with like their physical and also their gaming, I think it's just balance for parents and encouraging that, not essentially shaming it. I think there's been so much shame, you know, around being a gamer, or if that's your thing, you know. So I think it's just kind of putting a bit of light on that as well, and just lifting that.
I've experienced that even personally, even in my own career, because
same.
Well, yeah, I mean, I put stuff on the internet about my gaming, and you know, some kids have seen it and all that kind of stuff. I became a certified Minecraft educator actually 2 years ago, and I know the school I work at is small. I had a science class that had a lot of diverse needs, and I was like, let's give Minecraft education a go. Implemented it. Kids had a blast during that lesson. Honestly, some kids can't write, but you know what? They can put blocks together and they can communicate. You know, they can do sound clips, they can do video clips, they can all kinds of things to display their knowledge. So I enjoyed it as well. But then, like, the kids went home and they were like, "Mum, I had the best day at school." Like, "Oh, really? Why? What happened?" "Oh, we got to play Minecraft."
Dear principal.
Dear principal. I went into the office, I spoke. Oh, my days. It was, and it was heartbreaking, because I was actually really happy about that. So I think the more work there is done to kind of, you know, bring to the forefront the actual real benefits to experiencing learning in gaming and socializing in gaming, and gaming for therapy and enjoyment, and for de-stressing, and all kinds. People game for all kinds of
mental
reasons.
health as well.
So
no, look, completely agree. We just we recently did a Minecraft challenge in school, so we did primary and high school, and we nearly had nearly 500 students compete in it. And, you know, we found so much support from the teachers, the feedback. They loved it because, you know, you just got kids creating and coming together and coming up with their own ideas. And, you know, we did like medieval cities and, you know, sustainability and, you know, all these different kind of ecosystems. So it's, and I think, you know, when parents start seeing that side of it more, I think the penny will land for a lot of people. They'll go, "Oh, okay, gaming isn't what a current affair told me at 6:30."
Oh, for sure. Well,
who would have thought?
Look, cognitive dissonance is everywhere, you know. It's for certain. But you know what? The more we have these discussions, the more it gets out there. The more work that you guys do, the more schools you get to, the more groundwork you do, the more videos you put out there, all that kind of stuff. It will definitely become more serious, and and everyone just gets to have fun. You know, it's fun for everyone.
Exactly. You know, at the end of the day, we're kind of all here just to enjoy life, and there's a massive enjoyment element to gaming and esports, you know, and if you're getting pleasure from it, then, you know, truly there's what's wrong about fantastic. It, you know?
No. Yeah. Totally fine. Well, in my book anyway.
Oh, mine too.
So you do outreach to schools now, because I am a teacher on the ground. Okay, so I already know the barriers to implementing a program like an esports team and competing. Do you find that you're mainly outreaching to schools on the higher end of funding, who have a lot of infrastructure already in place to actually do these trainings and things like that?
Yeah, good question. I would say no. So we obviously do have a few, I guess you'd say, private schools that do compete. But for me, my outreach is essentially any school. So we've got a pretty heavy database, and we kind of try and connect in with teachers there, whether they're, you know, in IT or in STEAM or whoever that might be open to a conversation. We also actually have a lot of schools reach out to us, surprisingly, like a lot.
That's amazing.
Because what we found is happening is the students are really pushing for it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so on our last Minecraft education challenge, I was chatting with one school in Queensland, and the teacher was telling me that essentially her students came to it with it and were just saying, look, we want to compete in this.
Yeah.
So, I think every kind of teen now, or that age demographic, they know about esports. They're when they're Googling, they're seeing, oh, it's probably going to be in the Olympics. And
Yeah.
so they're kind of going, hang on a tick, hang on, this isn't a negative thing anymore. Like these bodies are picking it up. So when they see
awesome.
what the AEL are doing, they're going, hey, so
there's no
it's a bit
pressure,
of a mixed bag.
like there's no pressure like teen peer pressure. Just saying, like if you've got a bunch of students that come up to you, Miss, look at this thing, this video, go find it, Google this, put it up on the big screen, and next minute you've got like 20, 30 kids, and you're like, oh, okay, now I have to send emails.
Yeah, look, one thing we're working on is like our kind of administration side. So some of the feedback we did have from the last comp was, we had one big school and she wanted to put in around 30 teams, and she's like, I just didn't have like the space. Like I only put four or five in. And I was just like, look, that's completely fair. So we kind of want to make it easy for teachers as well. So we're kind of looking at our processes and where we can improve them to, and
for sure,
that kind of thing. Because, we understand teachers already have a very heavy load, and we don't just want to go, here's a bunch more administration for esports. But
definitely. Yeah, so teams are usually, we have at my school, we have like groups, like the like committees that will organize all of that kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so so for example, the athletics carnival. That'll be a committee, and it'll be people like in the town and stuff like that, coordinated by one teacher, and then they talk about it, and who's going to mark out the field, bringing in the stuff, the tents, all that kind of stuff, and they kind of organize it that way, and then who's going to go where, and then that information's passed on to teachers when it happens. So I mean, there's obviously got to be like a middle person, so someone who's a stakeholder in the school, and then there needs to be someone, obviously they're communicating with the school and you guys. So need to be a man.
Yeah, we look, what we really need is like some parental esports working groups. That would be amazing.
That would just put it out there.
I know.
And,
that would
be like,
really cool.
Is your kid interested in this? Great. Like when parents go on the excursions.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
That's so it. Look, honestly,
I tell you, if my child came home and they were like, Mom, I want to join the esports team, but there needs some parent helpers, we're on. What do you need? Cupcakes? What do you need?
Oranges.
Ethernet cables. Whatever it is.
I've
controllers.
got mouse pads.
Yeah.
Love it.
It's very exciting.
Oh, look, it's exciting times. This year's being big for esports globally.
Thank
and
you,
also in Oz. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Olympics. You're doing a lot of the hard work. But if someone says to me that gaming doesn't shouldn't be in the Olympics, then I'm like, well, why is shooting in the Olympics? Oh my God, that's the exact same thing
in the Olympics. You just stand still.
That's the exact same thing. Exactly. With shooting, you literally pull one trigger.
Yes,
that's it. So
and like,
same thing.
Anyway,
I think like it's similar to chess and stuff as well. I think sport is more so like, for me, when I think of sport, I just think it's an environment that's extremely competitive, and then we measure that, and then we award that with first, second, or third, or the champion. So I think when you look at sport through that lens, that can be applied to so many different things. And esports is just one of them.
Definitely. 2024, what does AEL look like? What are some things you can share?
So massive focus on our high school. league, and also primary school league. We're going to be doing another Minecraft challenge as well. Keeping like our regular titles there. We're doing all the Supernova and Comic Cons again. So we go all around Australia. We're going to be hosting some high school tournaments there as well. We've got a few council events on, and then also a few things that are just under apps. So
yeah.
Yeah.
No,
and
I
then,
totally understand.
Yeah. But look, massive growth. We've got a big goal of getting to around 100,000 students over the next 5 years. So we really feel that's achievable. And it's just really getting into schools and having those conversations and just educating. Yeah. And kind of getting that message out there. And then we've got Paris next year, so the Olympics. And
Paris?
we know they're going to be doing like an esports piece, on the side. So that'll be interesting. Our team will be heading over there.
Wow.
Just keeping up on that. So
are you taking students or just the staff?
Just staff at this stage.
Yeah.
Depending on what kind of competitions I'll be running, we may have an Aussie going over.
Okay.
But we're just kind of waiting to see and hear what the next steps from them are. But yeah, it's pretty damn exciting.
Yeah. No, well, honestly, we love to see it, and it's something we don't get to talk about that much. And there's so many opportunities within that. Not just if you're a student, but to work with people like yourself who are running these initiatives. It's really great to see. And if you feel like, if you are listening and you feel like that you can offer something, I mean, connect with them, because they're clearly really receptive. And honestly, everyone that I've met who's an organizer in esports has been incredibly down to earth. It's been a really lovely time every time.
Yeah, look, our team's very down to earth, and I think it's when you're dealing with the grassroots as well, you're dealing with everyday Aussies, everyday mums and dads, and we see them come through Supernova and Comic Con, and they kind of ask us questions and they want to understand things more as well. So it's definitely that kind of very community kind of feeling. Yeah.
No, that's amazing. Yeah. But honestly, as much of a bad rap as as we've said that gaming gets, like, there's no community like the gaming community. When you get right to the heart of it, when you go to conventions like PAX and things like that, and you get to experience people and their love for this particular hobby, whether it's at a competitive level or not, it's just always so great. And I mean, obviously, you're dealing with teenagers, so it's a little bit different. You're dealing with kids who idolize the very top end, like Mr. Beast, and all those kinds of people. And you're it's almost like you're re-educating them and saying, no, slow down, it's okay. You can be you. You don't have to lean into the stereotype. I mean, anyone who's in a role with young people should be taking it seriously and should be thinking about, what, I'm creating a better future through doing good work now.
No, we're very proud of what we're building, and there's so much ahead in it all. But but I agree, at the end of the day, like anything, gaming is just about human connection. And the game is really just is that tool and that connecting point that brings people together. And I think at the core of it, humans connecting, having community, feeling like they belong somewhere, feeling like they can make friends. If they're going through trauma, or if they've lost someone, they've got people there. And I think, what more can you ask for? Take the bullying and those kind of aspects out. But, I think it's a perfect space for people.
And, like young people, it's like, well, I know where my child is. They're in the computer lab at school.
Exactly. Exactly. Totally.
Sure.
No, totally. No, I remember as a teenager, like coming home after school and, you know, I'd have my like sports time and that, but then I'd have my gaming time. And it was truly just an escape because I was going through some really hard stuff when I was young. And that just
Yeah.
alleviated it. It was more of a, you can go to a place that's really creative. Like I remember playing Star Wars and being in the pods, and it just could take your mind somewhere else and
Yeah.
take you away from whatever you may have been facing. And then,
Mm-hmm.
you know, meeting people and getting together with the kids next door. And I think it's a beautiful tool.
It really is. So
Yeah.
thank you for bringing it to schools.
Not a problem. It's great having a teacher saying thank you.
No, seriously, like I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here, Sarah. I really look forward
My
to
pleasure.
the future of esports in high school, esports for education, and the Olympics next year. It's going to be amazing. So thank you so much for being here. If anyone listening,
pleasure.
More than welcome. If anyone would like to reach out to Sarah or anyone on the team on AEL, I will have their links below. Definitely follow them across their socials. They always post like cute little pics of the kids going on their adventures and stuff. So it's really awesome to see. And thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching on YouTube. And thank you to our product sponsor, Elgato. I'm Doom Cutie, and this is COAGG Conversations. And I will see you next time.